David Erdos with poem 5 from Unease and Verses from Difficult Times. The previous poem, At the End of England, had a very slight misspeak in it, in which in the fifth verse, the line duly rocked should have been duly mocked. For anyone who noticed, it's important to preserve these things and state them. Otherwise you're constantly reloading and changing videos, which is confusing. But it led to this second poem, which acts as a kind of sequel to the first, although it's about something completely different. It's a poem which is to do with a certain sensibility, and that is what I'm concerned with rather than what it would appear to be discussing. The End of England, Part 2. After the passing of Prince Philip, now the middle-class, middle-aged have the death of BBC4 to contend with. As on the same day, suspension of the electric air equals breath that has been withdrawn suddenly, taking a slice of comforting culture with it. As artistic voices and visions are set to make the nostalgic muse feel bereft. It was the Beeb's own Sky Arts, where one might capture documentaries on experimental music pre-Eno, and where a Viv Stanshall tribute brought that glorious ghoul back to life. BBC4 was what BBC 2 or Channel 4 used to be, the location of subversive celebration. A place in which England was at its most European and where Scandi Noir sliced screen candy, despite, until today at least, Brexit's knife. It was where old play for todays were re-shown and where programmes were pure conversation. It was a television channel of poets and painters too, dancers, dreams. It was an 8-hour home for previous standards each evening, and my slight shock at its loss makes me vapid, or perhaps even shallow, as I struggle on through strained surface to properly understand what this means. For England crumbles now, just as much as the biscuits consumed with tea as I watched it. But don't let them say it was cosy, despite its 62-year-old average age. It did not pander across the other platforms or preach, unless you do think that even the highest of arts grants low function. No, what I bemoan is the sudden amputation or absence of what we might call the discerning strain. That risks rage. It was a cost-cutting motion, they say, although BBC 3 is returning, as if to capture youth was the issue and the eternal quest in all things. What this effectively shows is a shift away from one sort of world to another. This is not about TV channels or comfort, of course. This cut stings, as it reveals one less chance to reveal and ruminate or to question. Just as a royal has been removed, so Art's kingdom, or castle at least, meets the moat. If this seems pompous, forgive. If this seems privileged, please, it's just TV. But it is the ideas behind this which are rippling through my remote. As it supplies me with choice, the type of choice feels reductive. I wanted it all there to remind me that in terms of relaxation alone, art was boss, as it was an arts channel per se, with imagination set at high value. So BBC4 in its heyday easily replaced what 2 was. The space where event as opposed to action ran rampant, now reversed back into nothingness and charged static on account of COVID-19's running costs. So I'm asking, how much more will we lose? And kids, in time, what will happen to you and youth's purpose, and irregardless of that, your art's home? Take away one more tree, and you start to get a pretty threadbare-looking forest. These days, the weather's warped. Minds have wintered, and even the illusion of spring can't atone for what has been lost, irrespective of my taste in telly. But whatever prize was once pixelled, we can reasonably surmise, has been bought. Those who watch a lot of sport may not mind, or those who watch soaps, blockbuster films, quiz or game shows, or increasingly rare sitcoms, or documentaries perhaps, of one sort. To me, it's not even like another artist has died. It is the sensibility that surrounds it. It is the same with the violent opposition to vaccines. Resistance's condemnation feels as if a selection or choice has been made. That is what I decry, and it gives me pause and suspension, in both belief and perception. With one more strand plucked and taken, what will further attractions convey? Again, I repeat, this is not about TV schedules. Today, Elizabeth lost her husband. It's just that tonight, art feels thinner, as something in England grows hungry before being carelessly cast in a grave. David Erdos, April the 9th, 2021.